Hi, all. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. My name is Amira, and today, guys, we are going to be trying some new makeup. I've gotten quite a lot of PR in the past week or so, as well as some things that I had ordered on my own. And I've been using some of it off camera, but some of it I haven't had a chance to try. So I was like, you know what? Today has been kind of like one of those Sundays where you're doing all the things. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of got a bit of energy. Let's sit down and film a video. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So the weather here right now in Chicago is interesting because the temperature is perfect. It's 69, 70, but it's so humid that it feels like it's 75, 80. So, but it's breezy, but it's got a cool breeze. It's just weird. Chicago weather in the fall is fall. I love fall. I'm more of a fall winter girl than anything else, but fall in Chicago is just weird. Chicago does not know who it is in the fall. So I have my window open because I'm wearing a sweatshirt because I was like, oh, it's a little breezy. I'm going to go out. I'm going to wear a sweat. I'm so hot. I'm so hot. So if you hear noise, the window's open. I did turn the fan off though because I had the air blowing because it was too much. All right, so I have prepped my skin. Like I said, I've been in and out of the house today running errands and cleaning and organizing and doing all the things. So I had sunscreen on, but then I washed my face because I was cleaning and I just wanted to get off any kind of dust or whatever was on my face. And I applied some moisturizer. So that is all that is on my face right now. And I haven't done my brows. And I know I've promised that I would do my brows on camera for you guys, and I am going to do them, but I am not going to talk. The brow portion of the video will be sponsored by silence, okay? And maybe a little music over it, because I can't talk and do my brows at the same time. I just can't, which is one of the reasons why I don't do my brows on camera, because some people can multitask with their brows. It takes a village to lift these brows and to build them, so I need silence in those moments. So I'm gonna go into the brows right now on camera, but we're gonna sort of it's gonna be a little music montage. Okay, let's get into it. Alright guys, so I have zoomed you back out. The brows are done. I hope that was helpful. That's literally what I do. It actually went pretty well. I was like, because sometimes the brows don't want to brow, but it went pretty well. As you can see, I only used two products. I didn't know if the camera picked it up when I showed it, but this is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer in dark brunette, and then I use the NYX Brow Glue in dark brown, and that's literally what I use to do my brows every day. So that's done. So now let's get into base products, and I got this base product in PR a couple of weeks ago, and I tried, and the shade that I got was kind of on the warmer side, like a half a shade too warm, like a half a shade too warm, maybe half a shade too deep, but I loved the formula. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna order. They were having a sale on the product, so I was like, I'm gonna just order the shade down, the next shade down, and see if that works better for me. I don't know if it does, but I feel like between the two of them, I can kind of make them work. So what I am referring to, and I have this is one of those packaging that gets fingerprints all over. Now I was willing to wipe it off. So I am speaking of the Surratt Dewdrop Foundation. I have the shade 12 and the shade 11. So we're gonna go in with both, because that's basically what I was doing or have been doing when I wear this. And I've been kind of going back and forth between two foundations as of late. And that is the Dewdrop, and then the Sephora Skin Tint, Reveal Skin Tint. Alright guys, so I had to stop filming for a second. I had just applied the foundation, so hopefully it hasn't dried down too much on my face. But what I did was I took 11 and 12 and I mixed them together. And so we're just gonna blend those out. And I washed my brushes last night after putting it off and putting it off all day long. All day long I was like, I'm gonna do it at this time, I'm gonna do it at this time, and then I just didn't. And then like at 6 o'clock last night I was like, Amira, it's time, girl, it's time, let's just get it done. And I did, but as a result of that, they are not dry. So I'm using kind of like, not the dregs of my collection, because these are brushes that I like, but they're not like my everyday brushes that I reach for, you know. This is the It Cosmetics for It brushes for Ulta. It's a decent brush, I don't hate it, but it's not like my go-to brush for like complexion. All right, so I've applied that, and as you can see, it is a little bit on the warm side, even with 11 mixed in. But guys, I love the formula of this. I was like shocked. You know those moments where you like see yourself like halfway through your work day in the mirror and you're like, is it my imagination or do I look amazing still? That's the situation that was my experience the first time I wore this, and I was just so excited because I was just like, okay. So even though I feel like the matches aren't like perfect, I can make them work, and they're not like terrible. Like as you can see, it's not terrible. It's just a little, you know, just. So I'm not like torn up about it, and I like the formula enough to make them work. I'm not gonna buy another shade. These are so expensive, and the only reason I bought the 11 is because it was on sale. I was like, you know, I think if I had the foundation for longer and I like really knew how I felt about it, I probably would. So we'll see. I might eat my words on that. This is not a new concealer. This is a concealer that I have been using a ton lately, and I've been using it a lot with like, that was way too much product. I don't even use that much concealer. I've been using it with the Sephora Reveal Skin Tint because I like that this gives a bit more coverage. So when I'm using that product, which is kind of like a light to medium coverage, it helps me like cover up blemishes and things like that. Like my skin, this happens every like transitional season where my skin just kind of goes, what's happening? So I had like a little breakout here, and I have like a little bump there, nothing like major. But it's, you know, how I kind of like when I still want to wear something kind of on the lighter side as far as base, I just go over with like this concealer or my Natasha Denona, which is also pretty full coverage. Like I think the Natasha Denona is actually more full coverage than this one. But this is the House Labs concealer. I love this concealer. I love that foundation. I haven't used it in a minute because it's a foundation I tend to wear mostly in this, like in the winter. So I'm kind of excited to like revisit it and see if I still love it, you know. All right, so base is done. I have my concealer on, and as you can see, it does kind of help balance it a little bit. It doesn't do like a ton, but it helps. And I feel like it looks more like my skin now, like not quite as like slightly off. All right, we are going to set. I'm not using a new setting powder or anything. Do I have a powder brush? No. So we're going to use this brush. This is what happens, people, when you put your cleaning your brushes too long, because I cleaned my brush, I cleaned my little powder puff, so everything's clean. It's just everything is still drying, and so I have to like, I picked this up to do bronzer with, and I can still do my bronzer with it because I'm just using it with powder, but don't be like me. Wash your brushes in a timely manner so that you don't have to worry about everything being still wet and drying. All right, so I'm just doing a little powder. I'm not doing a ton with that. This, the finish of the Surat Dewdrop, I mean, it's called Dewdrop, so I guess it's meant to be dewy. I didn't find it that dewy. I did find that my oils came through a little bit more than they would with like, the Sephora, I can't talk, the Sephora Skin Tint, or my About Face Beauty foundation, or I think my oils come through with the Surat the way my oils come through with the House Labs. Like just a little bit, that it almost gives your skin like this like glowy, like lit from within look, you know, not that you don't look greasy, you don't look oily slick, you know, you don't look like, you know, you don't look like you have oily skin, at least in my opinion. I think if you have oily skin, you might. My skin is normal to oily, but I mean, I wore this when it was like 80 something degrees outside and it was fine. But my skin did have this like glow to it, like towards the end of the day, but everything was still in place. Like nothing was breaking up, nothing was moving. So I was like, okay. And I know a couple of people who this is like their jam. So I was like, okay, Sarah, I see you, I see you. So yeah. All right, for bronzer, I did my rosy bronzer video, as you guys saw. I think that was the last video I put up, which wasn't the intention, but it's just the way it worked out, because I actually filmed a couple of videos and I just haven't had time to edit them. So this one will probably go up before the ones that I've filmed before. That's just the way it works. So I think for bronzer, I want to do like a radiant bronzer. So I have two from that video that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of either the RMS Hydra bronzer or the MAC Radiant Rich Rosy Skin Finish. Let's go with the RMS, only because I have some blushes that I am going to be showing you guys. Blushes plural, but I'm only going to be using one, but I don't know which one I'm going to use, and I kind of want to use something on my face that's a little bit easier to like it's not quite as deep. As you can see, it's quite rosy on me. And this is like I said, like in the pan, it doesn't look rosy at all, but on my skin, it looks quite rosy. This is a very dense brush, so this is going on quite densely. Like I kind of knew that that was going to happen because I'm using something that is not really meant for this, in my opinion. I mean, you could. But this brush is from, this is a Milani All Over Blending brush. I've had this brush for a minute. I like it for like highlight, you know, things like that. I don't really use it for like something like bronzer generally, but beggars can't be choosers, so this is what we're working with, people. You know what I mean? But as you can see, this RMS bronzer is beautiful. Beautiful. I've been getting a lot of use out of my rosy bronzers, guys. I have a lot to work through now. And I don't know if all of them will stay in my collection, you know, come the, you know, beginning of next year, when I usually do my like declutter, my like make room in the new year kind of declutter. I don't know if these will, you know, all of these will make the cut, but yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go over here just a little bit with this brush because I just feel like it's a little heavy, and that's mostly because of the brush. I don't really usually use these type of brushes, so I just want it a little bit softer. But that's really, do you see how pretty that is? Oh, rosy bronzers for life. Life. All right, so now let's do blush. And I bought some blushes recently, and first of all, let me just say this. I am not one of those people who loves the like holiday gift sets. Just realized my sound was probably terrible this entire time, so I hope this is better, guys. Sorry about that. But what I was saying is that I don't usually go for like gift sets, like the holiday gift sets. It's very rare. I might buy one or two in the season, but it's not something that they're not like the thing that I get excited about during the holiday season. But Tarte came out with 2 sets of blushes. They come, I think it's 5 in each set. They came out with I think it's called pinks and mauves, and then pinks and cherries, I think. Let me look it up, and I'm gonna put a picture of it up on the screen for you guys so you can see which one I'm talking about. But I bought these. It's the Stay Golden Amazonian Clay cheek set, and I got it in the shade of the reds and berries. Okay, so there's pinks and corals, which is really pretty too, but I was like, I'm not gonna get a whole use out of that, except maybe that like orangey one. That just wasn't appealing to me. But the Reds and berries, I was like, yes, because I mean, look at these colors, like, hello. And I got them recently, and I've only used one, and the one that I've used, let me see, which one did I use? Was it this one? Yes, it's the red one, which is called Chic. Look how pretty. It's like reddish orange. How pretty is that? This is what I used Friday? Last Friday to go to work, and I was like, oh, this is so pretty. The thing that I did with it to make sure that I was happy with the way the colors were applying, because that is quite bright. And then I have this one that is called Luxury. That's really pretty. This was probably the weak link in the set for me. I don't dislike it, but I don't think I'm going to get as much use out of it as I will this one. Hold on, let me open it back up so you guys can see the comparison of the two colors together. So this is Luxury and this is Chic, but this is just more vibrant on my face, you know, and this is not bad, but I just, like, when I was deciding, I was like, this is just speaking to me. The other two colors, and there's like 4 blushes, and I think like and the other one's like a highlighter. So the other blushes, which I'm also like, yes. So this one is Masterpiece and this one is Poise. I think we're gonna be using Poise today. Guys, I don't check for Tarte. I don't get excited about Tarte, but I don't know what it is about this set. The moment I saw it on Trend Mood, I was like, sold. And it just kind of worked out. Like I was like, I'm gonna get that eventually, but then Ulta was having a sale and all of the Tarte gift sets were on sale. So this retails for $45, I believe, and I'll put links to everything down below, but I got it for $36. But I think even with the regular price, it's worth it. Look at that. Look at how this is Poise that I'm using, guys. Like, you can actually use this as a rosy bronzer because it has that, like, you see what I mean? Like, it has, like, you could totally use this as a bronzer. I'm going heavy on the blush, guys, because first of all, I'm using a natural hair brush, which I would normally never do with something like this, but again, my brushes are drying. A little on my forehead. Like, if you're not a heavy blush girl like I am, then of course, you know, tread lightly. But oh my god, guys, this is so pretty. It's so pretty. I was like, okay, Tarte, I see you. I see you. You got me. You got me. You got me on that one. But so far, I've tried 2 out of the 4, and I've liked the formula on both. And that like corally, the sort of like red orange one that I showed you guys, the one I think it's called Chic. That one shears out really nicely. So if you are interested in that, and you're like my shade or lighter, and you're worried about it being too just too vibrant, I kind of went a little ham on the blush, guys, didn't I? Oh well, YOLO. But yeah, if you are interested in that shade and interested in this set, these colors, just use pick up less on your brush, use a synthetic brush. I'm using a natural hair refer brush, which is not something I would normally use for those type of shades, but again, my brushes are drying, like, so my brush of choice is not currently available to me. I do love this brush for blush though, but I tend to use it for blushes that have like a little bit softer pigment, you know, where you need that extra oomph to pick up the product. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot of blush, but I'm not even mad at it. All right, so now let's do eyes, and I have two palettes to show you guys, and I want to use both, but I don't know, they're very different from each other. So the idea of like smushing them together to get like a cohesive look is a little like, I don't know if that's gonna work, but we're gonna do something. I gotta do something. So I'm putting my primer on. I'm using my primer that I always use, my About Face Beauty Shadow Fix Primer. It's my go-to, and I'm just putting that on, blending that onto my lids. I need to get a new one because I already feel like this one's almost donezo. This will be my second one. All right, so eyes are primed. All right, so the first one I have to show you guys is this beautiful one from Sigma, and I'm sure so many people, you guys have seen videos on this, but I've actually been using this quite a bit since I got it. And the shades that I've really been loving, of course, are these neutral tones, but I've also really been loving this shade here, which is called Scroll, which is this beautiful, like, it's almost duochromy, almost, but not quite. It's like it's a little duochromy. It's like a green gold. So pretty on the lid. I've been just using that. And then my favorite shade in the palette is this shade called Soft Shell. And I mean, so I'm just kind of in the mood to use that shade in some capacity. The other shade that I've been using, and this is sort of the look that I've been doing every day. Well, not every day, but you know, on days when I really have time and I really want to do like an eye look, I've been using the shade Loverboy and Sing. So this is Loverboy, which is super pale and like barely blend. Like it just kind of gives slight dimension to my lid and my crease, which is all I want anyway. And then I go over it. I pat Sing on it. And these are the shades that I'm speaking of. So this is Loverboy and this is Sing. And they're both really soft. And during the day-to-day work week, that's kind of what I'm going for. Like I don't usually have the time nor the energy to do like a full eye look for my work day. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do when I'm feeling myself. But most days I just want to like feel put together and pretty. But I want it to be like a simple look that doesn't take very long. So what I'm thinking is I want to use this. But also, guys, Cleona Cosmetics sent me this beauty. and I was just like, This is the Paleo palette. Look at these shades. I mean. So now I'm just like, I really want to use both of these together. And I think I can. Because I really want to use Soft Shell. I think I can use these shades together. I mean, look at this shade. Oh, and this is Crater. And then Epoch. Oh, now the blues, I'm probably not going to touch today. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry. I'm not in a blue mood. I'm kind of in like especially with this face makeup, I feel like I want something kind of like sultry, molten-y, brown, red, gold. You know what I mean? That's what I'm feeling. So I think that's what we're going to do. So first, I think I'm going to go in to my crease with Loverboy from the Little Mermaid palette. And that's not going to do a whole lot. It's just going to give a little bit of dimension to my crease. And then I'm going to go in and really like deepen this up. But it's not going to give me like, you see what I mean? Like it gives me something that I like to have, a little bit of something to anchor my eye. And I feel like it does that. But it is like, it's not like a shade that it's going to like, that I can use as like a deep crease shade. But that's okay. That's not what we're going for with it. So, oh, let me zoom you guys in. Hello. And yeah, so that's what we're doing there. I'm almost dipping into the wrong shade. Oh my God. Embarrassing. So that's Loverboy from the Little Mermaid palette. And now, do I have enough brushes to do this? I mean, my eye brushes thankfully are dry, so I'm not too torn up about it. Do I have a 14? Hope. All right, guys, disaster averted. I have a Rephr 14 and a Rephr 13. Musts. So we're going into the Paleo palette with Rephr number 14, and I'm going into the shade Tectonic. That picked up a lot because this is a natural hair brush and these shadows are incredibly pigmented. And I'm literally just taking this way around the crease here. Like so. Oh, I didn't do that properly. I went a little rogue with that, guys. But we'll blend it out because it will blend. Don't you worry. And it did blend. It looks beautiful still. my camera will focus. Hi, hello, how are you? Thank you. Good to see you. Hi. Yeah, just like bringing that up and out a little bit more to give the eyes a bit more shape. So that is done. I think now I'm going to go in with soft shell, and I'm going to go on, I'm going to apply it with a Refer 21, and I'm going to wet my brush. So I'm going to dip into soft shell. I'm going to wet the brush. I got quite a lot on my brush. All right, so we're going to paint the lid with this. But we're going to keep this part untouched because we're going to put a different shape there. So I'm just keeping that part empty. I will say about these shades from the Little Mermaid palette, specifically the metallics, they're a bit drier than I'm used to as far as how they feel. You know, I'm used to, God, that was my bad. I picked up like so much on my brush. But the reason for that is because it's like a drier formula, I feel like I have to pick up a little bit more. I'm gonna wet my brush again. And so I will say be careful. Definitely use a wet brush to pick up this shade. Unless you're using your fingers. Like if you're using your fingers to apply it, I think you'll be fine. But if you're trying to do this with a brush, it is a bit on the dry side, and you will need something that has a bit of grip to it to really give you that application that you're looking for. Otherwise, I think you're going to find it a little hard to like apply. But yeah, I mean, they're beautiful shades. They're just not that like indie formula where, you know, the metallics, and they're really like that creamy texture where you can just scoop your brush in and it picks up a ton of pigment. Like I didn't really pick up a lot of pigment until I wet my brush, but it's still, you know, I got what I wanted from it, you know. All right, so now I think I want to go in with Arkea, I hope I'm saying that right, from the Paleo palette, which looks like that, and it's kind of like in the camera it looks pink. When I'm looking down at it, it looks like a green gold, and when you shift it, like it kind of looks like a green gold. I don't know if this is going to even show. No, it's not going to show it. Okay, so I'm applying Arkea, which again, in the palette, like looking down at it, it looks green, but in the camera and as I'm applying it, looking in the mirror, it looks pink. And I actually really love that because it's just gonna flash so beautifully, like in different lighting. Oh, if only I had somewhere to go, but I don't. I'm literally gonna like apply this and then sit around in my house with the full beat on. I'm probably gonna make myself a cup of tea. I bought a vanilla Coke, which is my go-go juice. I call that go-go, you know, like, you know how you have like, some people drink coffee. I am a tea drinker. I can't really drink coffee because it upsets my tummy. But when I'm like needing like caffeine, I'm sponsored by, my energy levels are sponsored by Coca-Cola or some kind of like, you know, brown soda. So that is the top part of the eye. Now let's do the bottom half. And I think we're gonna go in with this shade from the Little Mermaid called Sea King, and this is really pretty. It looks a little bit lighter on camera than it actually reads in real life, and it has a little bit of shimmer in it, but it's one of those shades that like once you blend it out, the shimmer kind of disappears. So it's like, you know, it's just there for funsies, and it's probably there to help it blend a little bit. So I'm just using that on the lower lash line. Like so, and it's super light. It's really pretty. But what I'm gonna then do, and I'm gonna just blend this down a little bit more, is take a little bit of Tectonic, which is that shade that we used in the crease, and blend that down underneath it as well. Like so. It's so pretty. And then do the other side. right, so now that I've done that, I want to take another shade and put it like, take it from the inner corner and wrap it. And I think we're gonna do either Crater or Scroll. What do we think? I feel like Scroll would pop more. All right, let's do Scroll. This is from the Little Mermaid palette. And I'm going to wipe this brush off. I'm gonna use the same brush because, you know, why not? And I am going to wet this. And again, like I said, these metallics are on the drier side. They just are. They do look beautiful on the eyes, but I would say you will have to wet your brush if you want, you know, high impact application. I'm now taking Crater and I'm putting that literally in my inner, like just pop, pop, pop. And that is the eye. I mean, so pretty. I'm gonna put some mascara on, and a mascara that I'm gonna be using is a new one, to me anyway. I don't think it's new. This is the Telescopic mascara from L'Oreal, and I just want it like, and this is the shade Black Brown. So I've been using 2B mascaras, most specifically I think I've got like eyeshadow in my eye. All right, so I've been using the e.l.f. 2B mascara, the one that is supposed to be the dupe, I think, for the Thrive one. And I had it in black originally, then I got it in like dark brown, and I like it. I just feel like I was kind of I was kind of like moving past my need for a 2B mascara. I don't know. I go through phases with things, you know? And so I was just sort of like, I'm ready for a traditional mascara, but I still wanted something that wasn't like a black. I wanted one that still had a little brown to it, while still being kind of deep. So I tried this one. It was on sale at Ulta. I picked it up. So far, I've only had it like a week, guys, so I don't know. Like, I'm still forming my opinions on it. It's not bad. I'm not like blown away by it immediately, like you said. Everyone was like, oh my god, this is the best mascara ever. But I'm not like, you know. The only thing I don't like, and I know it's telescopic, and this is probably why, is it has that little rubber brush, which I always wind up poking myself in the eye with, and I have already done that multiple times with this, so that's fun. So I'm gonna try and not do that with this. I'm gonna do the other eye so I can focus on not stabbing my eye. I'll be back. All right, guys, so mascara is done. Like I said, I'm still using this and trying to figure out if I like it. The one thing I'm kind of bummed about, because I feel like it's a bit of false advertising, it's supposed to be telescopic, and so I just assumed that it would be really good at getting like those smaller hairs and really like bringing them to life and good for the lower lash line. And I don't feel like it's any different than any other mascara as far as that goes, even with this like little tiny brush. So that's my one, like, I don't know, it's a little false advertising about that, but I don't dislike the mascara as a whole. So next up, I have this product from Surat to try, and I haven't really been doing the whole highlighter thing, guys. I haven't really been doing highlighter for a while. I've just been doing lots of glowy products, and I've really just been liking that vibe more because it just feels more like in the skin, like instead of something laying on the skin, you know. This is the Torche Lumiere highlighter in Door, and when I first saw this, when I first opened it up, I was like, no, absolutely not. It's like this yellowy gold, and I just don't, these are not shades that speak to me. And highlighters, I was like, nah fam, I'm good. But then I was like, Mary, you haven't even tried it, you gotta try it. And so I was like, okay. So I took it, and it's like a little roll up, it's cream. I took my little thingy, and I was like, okay, just pat it on and see how you feel. So I did that. And I was like, I see the vision. Like, I see the vision. Now, I don't know if I would necessarily wear this with these types of like the shade of like blush, because the blush is quite neutral, and I feel like this is quite almost like a cool toned gold, and I wasn't sure if I would like this. The main thing for me is I wasn't sure I was gonna like this shade of gold on my skin. I had a highlighter like this from Pat McGrath that I decluttered a long time ago because I just wasn't feeling it on my skin. That's the way it looked. I was like, I don't know. But what I like about this highlighter, as I poke myself in the eye, what I like about this highlighter, and you can kind of see it as I blend it out on my skin, is that it does the thing that I want for my skin to do, where it just looks like I have highlighter on, but it also just looks kind of glowy. Like it just looks like, oh, your skin looks amazing today. It's like, oh, thank you. Like I've used this with like a light base, barely there, like no makeup with the Torche Lumiere on strategically, and my skin looked amazing. So this was sort of like a dark horse for me. Like I was not expecting to like this, and I've been reaching for this a ton. So I wanted to use it here so you guys could kind of see where I'm coming from, you know what I'm talking about. So let me take my Laneige lip mask off. It's been sitting here marinating because my lips have been so dry, and let me show you some of the lippies that I got. Now I found the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale to be boring as hell. There was nothing that was really like, well, I won't say nothing because we're gonna get into something, but there was barely anything that I was like interested in spending my money on, except for 2 days was when they had the the Rabanne lipsticks on sale. I think they call them, what are these called? The glassy drama lips, and I picked up the shade Secret Code, which is this like really cool tone purple. I don't know why I picked this up. I had 2 shades on my mind, and I was like, no, Amir, you can only get one. You can only get one. So I got this one, and then I was like, why did I get this? Because it's so light. Do you see that? But for some reason, I'm obsessed with it. It's like not a color for me, but I'm obsessed, and I don't know why. Like, why do I like this color on me, guys? Like, why do I like this? Like, who am I? So I got it, and I was like, girl, maybe you should have gotten the other shade you were looking at. Like, you like that, or like, are you really gonna wear it, you know? And I really like the feel of the formula. The formula is really nice. So then I got a different shade, and I got the shade Secret Code in the same formula. And this one I've worn. I'm not gonna put this on today, it's gonna clash terribly, but do you see this? Do you see this color? And let me just tell you, if you went when you saw it, so did I, and I went when I put it on my lips, and I was the whole day because it was so pretty. But what we're gonna try instead are some of the shades. And I'm missing a shade. Hold please. Right now. All right. What do I want to film next? Yes, my makeup capsule. Let's do my thumbnail.